Hi everyone, I'm Raquel Setz and this is what's happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country. This week, President Lula underwent emergency head surgery after experiencing severe headaches due to a fall at his home in October. The surgery, performed at a hospital in São Paulo, was successful. The Brazilian leader is currently recovering in the intensive care unit. Doctors expect him to remain out of work for a week to recover. In São Paulo, off-duty police officers killed one person every 3 days between 2018 and 2023. The alarming frequency of these incidents has raised significant concerns about police violence. In response to the surge in deaths caused by the military police under Governor Tarcísio de Freitas, the Supreme Federal Court has mandated the use of body cameras with continuous recording to increase transparency and accountability. Actress Fernanda Torres has received a Golden Globe nomination for her role in I'm Still Here. The movie is competing for Best Foreign Film and has garnered international acclaim. The film is based on actual events from the Brazilian dictatorship. Brasil de Fato investigates the effects of soy production in the Amazon region. Brasil de Fato went to the Amazon region to investigate the harm the extensive cultivation of soy brings to local communities. Huge areas that are now dedicated to this monoculture represents a threat for them as they lose their inhabitants and traditional means of production, many of them being expelled from their lands. Also, harbors that are now necessary to transport the soy deeply harm the fishermen communities. In this edition of Story of the Week, we explain how the Landless Rural Workers Movement, known in Brazil as MST, is denouncing tax evasion by the global mining company Vale, accusing the company of causing long-standing social and environmental damage. The MST has reported that Vale has evaded around $1.6 billion in taxes. The movement occupied the Carajás Railroad in Pará to protest.
At the beginning of November, the MST occupied the Carajás Railroad in a section located in the city of Parauapebas in the state of Pará. The city is Brazil's biggest revenue earner in the mining sector, but has accumulated socio-environmental impacts. The mobilization is part of the so-called Day of Struggle for Rights and Popular Agrarian Reform, which aims to pressure Vale and governments to meet the demands of communities affected by the environmental and social impacts caused by mining in the region.
Even though our region has the largest reserves in the country's mineral exploration system, perhaps one of the largest in the world, our population suffers from the consequences of this mining model, coping with housing and health demands. That's why we believe that Vale must take responsibility for investing in controlled social initiatives, including investments and management by the government and society.
According to an audit by Brazil's Federal Audit Court, Vale failed to pay taxes for around 5 years, between 2017 and 2021, surpassing $400 million. Parauapebas is the city most affected by tax evasion in Pará, along with Mariana, Ouro Preto, and Itabira, all three in the state of Minas Gerais.
We insist that mining resources be applied to measures that can reverse the poverty and misery our people are experiencing. Tax evasion, especially from the financial compensation from mineral exploration, which Vale has accumulated in the region, amounts to about $1.6 billion and could effectively help to combat the social and environmental problems the company itself causes.
In the so-called gold rush of the 80s, Vale was granted exclusive rights to exploit iron ore, gold, and manganese in a region that indigenous peoples had previously inhabited. As a result of this activity, the city of Parauapebas became independent in 1988. Since then, the city has lived with the impacts of mining, such as the sickening of its population.
Those on the front line of health and primary care deal with this situation daily. Patients arrive with advanced stages of depression, anxiety, chronic injuries, and bone and joint injuries, which are directly related to this predatory mining model. All of us who are affected by mining need to join this fight, particularly those of us who live here in the Carajás region, which has historically suffered the ravages of this large mining company that only exploits our region and leaves poverty and illness in its wake.
The MST has already deoccupied the Carajás Railroad. The movement has sent the federal, state, and municipal governments a list of demands, including Vale paying withheld taxes and Brazil carrying out agrarian reform. A team from the federal government and the Vale company has started talks with the movement and is due to meet in the next few days.
In today's Culture Talk, you'll find out how the Guarani indigenous people in São Paulo rescue native bees to keep the forest standing and traditions alive.
For the Guarani indigenous people, without native bees, there is no forest and no future.
Essas abelhas estavam sendo extinto.
These bees are being extinguished in the territory, and this caused great concern for the territory. By listening to the elders, we became concerned about how we would help nature return to what it was. So, with the commitment of the political leaders of this territory, they can access a project that would enable the reintroduction of bees so that we could have them in this territory again.
These small beings, thousands of years old in Guarani culture, are now playing an essential role in preserving biodiversity. Located 27 kilometers from downtown São Paulo, the indigenous territory known as Jaraguá includes 7 villages. The indigenous people there suffer from the presence of invaders, and fundamental rights have historically been neglected, such as access to health care. In Tecoa Iviporã indigenous village, sacred territory for Nhanderu, the Guarani god, there are 140 boxes with 10 species of native bees. 10 years ago, when the project began, 7 of these species were extinct, according to indigenous chief Márcio Vera Mirim from the Carai people.
Trabalhando com o projeto de meliponicultura.
Working with the bee project, we can bring this other natural force that will help us keep our forests always protected, making the forest reproduce in the natural way it always has. So today we worked a lot on this. We are looking for the future to keep the forest diverse and protected.
Jurandir Jacupi works on the reforestation of the area and says the presence of native bees can rescue the primary fauna that has been devastated in the region. According to him, the relationship between them and the forest is symbiotic.
As abelhas precisam dessa.
The bees need a variety of plants, and the plants need the work of the bees in order to be able to reproduce. So one reinforces the other. The variety of bees will also guarantee the variety of plants. And with more variety of plants, you can make bees stronger.
Today, the 7 species produce honey, propolis, and wax used in traditional medicine and prayer rituals in Guarani villages. In Brazil, the more than 300 species of native bees are a treasure constantly threatened by deforestation, pesticides, and climate change. The indigenous chief makes a point of distinguishing beekeeping from meliponicultura, the term used in Brazil to name raising stingless bees.
Nós entendemos que essa prática de
We understand that inserting species from the other continents and places in this biome is not good for it. So the difference is that now it is the native bee species. What is Meliponi culture? It is an ancestral practice, a practice of the native peoples of each biome, and that's why it is essential that we continually strengthen it. It comes from the ancient practice and knowledge of the biome, forest, and region.
At the end of October, Brazil's Ministry of Justice made progress in recognizing the Jaraguá indigenous land by signing a decree. All that remains is for President Lula to approve it. The definitive recognition will guarantee the expansion of indigenous land, a struggle that has been ongoing for decades.
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We'll see you next week.